Hello and welcome to part 2 of my full-length walkthrough of this tutorial. So this is part 2 obviously, and we're going to be going right into it, and the next part is to add our boat to our scene. If you've missed part 1, then please go back, it will be in the description. It will also be attached to this link right now, you'll be able to see it on the video. Okay, so let's get right into it. So on part 2 we're going to be adding the boat and trying to go slightly into the nice foggy effect. Okay, so let's get our boat in here. Again, with the images, sorry about these are purchased, but you can get your own with the links I provided in the description. I'll give you a boat, I'll give you anything, everything I'm using, but obviously a different image. So let's get my boat in here. 1 second. So this is the boat I used. It's not the greatest image in terms of being able to cut it out, but I'll have to show you that. So magic wand will not work. It might work on the sky, but it will not work on the boat, so we're gonna have to do this the hard way. But I'm gonna show you magnetic tool, see if this works. So the magnetic lasso tool, let's try this. Basically just go around, let's just leave it at the bottom for now, that'd be fine, we don't need that. And just click when you think. Okay, that's not going to do that, but let's alright, let's just cut out the main thing at the moment. Let's get the pen tool on the main part of it, because it's not going to work on the sky, that tool. So the pen tool, all I'm doing is clicking up, and then I'm bending the pen tool. I'm using the mouse as well, by the way. I'm not using my Wacom at the moment. So you just click and then drag. Click and drag. So if you drag up, it goes down, drag down, you get the idea. If you need a full-length tutorial, there's many online on YouTube which you can find if you need to practice your pen tool. It's quite a tricky process to get used to. So that's that. We don't really need to get all these lines in, but we can always add them back in later if you wanted to. But to get this in, I'm just going to rush this a minute. Okay, so that's that. Get that. Okay, that's that. Obviously, I'm rushing this. You don't please don't rush it if you're doing it properly. But for the sake of this, let's add this in because we got that. So let's try and get rid of this top bit with just the lasso tool, not the lasso tool, the quick selection. See if it can do it for us. Okay. It's not having a awful time at doing it, so let's try and do that. Okay. And that bit there. Might have to refine this selection, but because it's in our background, it's not in our foreground, we don't really need to focus on it too much. If it was a proper like commercial piece or something like that, I would obviously take my time on this, but because it's a tutorial, we're just gonna rush this a little bit. So I'm just gonna pause this and get this cut out a minute. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Obviously the other way around, sorry. Control I. So it's not that great, but because it'll be in the distance, it's not going to be too bad. So let's get that one there. We could always go to that selection, use that instead. And then let's get the poly. We'd have to even do that. Let's see what we're cutting out. Fill with black. I'm not on that layer. Strange. So again. Edit fill. Black. Again with this section here. Have to use the quick selection tool. Hopefully it'll be okay. Again, you could be as careful as you want to be. It's in the distance. You're not going to notice this unless you really look into it, unless it's going to be printed, that type of thing. If I was you, and if I was doing a proper piece, like a commission, I would obviously cut this out properly. But as I said, just for the sake of this, I'm just going to do this really roughly. Okay. Now, I'll set in that grate there so we can get the white, and then let's try and bring back some of this. The railing, like that. That's okay. With the let's bring out his head's just disappeared. We don't want that. Let's get his face in there and then roughly go around his hat. So if you want to get in the wires, then you can get a white brush. Go to where the wire is, so you can get the hint of it, and then just go up. Maybe a bit bigger brush, 4, something like that. And let's see if that looks alright. Do the same for any other ones you see. It's in here. That needs a bit more on that. What I'm doing is clicking once and then holding shift and clicking down. That creates a straight line. So do that on our mask using white, and it will bring back that line for you. Okay, that's cool. We need to get rid of this line here. So I'm clicking and then clicking down, clicking once, holding shift, clicking up, and get rid of that. Or just use the poly lasso tool, up to you. Again, you just use your own boat image here. I'll give you one in the description. Make sure you use those. Okay, that's fine. There you go. See, that'd be fine because it's in the back. We don't need to do much more to that. So let's remove that underneath everything, under the tree. Not under that, under the tree. Okay. And let's reduce the size of that. Like that. Place that somewhere over here. That has to be exactly the same as what I did on this one. I think the tree's a bit bigger on that one I did. Or this one's up here a bit more. So the tree, that'll be there. Like there then, that'll be okay. Okay, so now you'll need to make it a bit more bluey, because as you can see, if I paste in my other boat from this one, it's a bit more blue. A bit bigger as well on this one, but it doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make group that layer into a boat. So now we have to get that boat looking like the boat I got here. So this is from the other image. Obviously it's a bit bigger, but it's not, it doesn't matter too much. So I'm going to get a hue saturation layer first. Hue and saturation. And lower the saturation slightly. Attach it to the boat, of course. Lower that down. We don't need too much saturation in that. And then let's bring up a color balance. Add it to that. And let's just add a little bit of blue in there. And there you go. Got something similar to the scene then. That's okay. So I'm going to delete this other boat. We don't need that. And then if you want to be really precise and what you would normally do, just get rid of that on the mask of that color. Get rid of it on the mast and stuff. So bring back that red color. And maybe in the boat at the bottom if you want to. If you don't want to color the people, obviously. Just the mast, really. Like that. And we're going to add a few wavy parts on the bottom of the boat. So on the mask, get a brush. You can use any brush for this. Just get a random, like an assorted brush or something like that. So I click that, click append to see what we get with that. I've got many brushes here, so we got all these random ones, I believe. Is that really what you get in that? Let's have a look. Let's delete those. So let's reveal that back in. Let's get a brush again. Let's use a different brush, or we could just you could pen tool it out yourself, or just use. It doesn't have to be too, amazing. It's in the back. You're not going to really notice it. Just have to act like a wave. So possibly just get your lasso tool and just experiment with some various shapes. Fill with black. That's not too bad. Get like another brush like this or something and just go over the bottom. Okay, so something like that. So then again, we're going to, before we do anything else, I'm going to go under that layer, get a white brush, and then with your soft brush, really low flow, like something like 8 or 6, something like that. Just gonna go over the bottom just to hit some of these wave bits. You can go out of the wave bit as well, at the back as well. See what that looks like. So it's not too bad. And then I'm gonna filter, blur, and then motion blur, and let's see if we can get this looking a bit more realistic. So we don't need too much on there. Again, it doesn't have to be too perfect because we're going to be looking at it from a distance, but you want it to look pretty good. I'm not really happy with those waves parts. Something like that. That's fine. Again, you could get a proper wave brush. Like I have these brushes, but I didn't want to use them because you don't have them. So I could use something like this, like a splat or something, and it would work a lot better. But so you don't have to do anything like that. That looks okay to me. So to generate a shadow, what we're going to do is duplicate that ship. Right click on the mask, the thumbnail, apply layer mask. I'm going to hit Control T. Bring this little pointer in the middle and bring it down to the front of the boat and then just flip it like this, and then we're going to go edit, transform, flip horizontal, and then we got that for that, and then hit Control T and just bring up the top point and then just make it so it's sort of level with the actual lake. Like that, but we need to add on those adjustments as well. Let's do that. Okay, so for this, we're going to lower the opacity, and we're also going to add a filter, distort, and then ripple. So obviously it gives the ripple of the water. There isn't much ripple on the water, which we could add as well if we were going to be really picky. But I'm just going to add this because so you know about the effect. So a bit of rippling in there makes it a bit more water worthy. A bit lower opacity again. So obviously the trees are in there, so the boat needs to be in there as well. Like that. That's fine. That's our boat. We're also going to add a blur to this, but let's do that in a minute. So the next step, let's have a look at our original image. So I've added everything else. I'm going to add another butterfly there, and also the little ladybug as well. We'll add in that first as well. So I'm going to duplicate this left butterfly. I'm going to add a little bit of variation just so it's not exactly the same butterfly. So let's go to our reds. No, it's our magentas. Nope. Which one is it? Wrong one. So let's go on this one. Go on our reds, and let's just alter this slightly, not too much. Yeah, a bit more teal in there. Okay, that's fine. And then I'm gonna group this into its own one called right butterfly, or far right butterfly, I should say. Let's bring that out of that left one. I'm gonna edit, transform, and I'm gonna flip, and then let's resize that to fit there. So what I didn't do in the actual original image, which we can do, is add in some blur to the wings. I've added blur to the thing, but I'm going to do that in a minute. That's for depth. But generally some blur to the wings because it's flying. Let's do that. So we didn't need to do it to the left one as much, but we're going to do it a little bit. So I'm going to go get the lasso tool. I'm going to go around roughly on the parts we want blurred. Maybe blur that as well because that's not very nice. I'm going to hit select, modify, feather. Let's try 70. What this basically does is it's going to be selecting a, if I go to, I might be able to see it. There you go. It's selecting a sort of blurred radius of these wings so that when we add the blur, it's not going to be like a straight cut blur to sharp. So this should work if I can do this now. So go to filter. You might want to add a make it a smart object before you do anything, just so we can edit the blur if we need to. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. As you can see, it's like that. Let's see if it's done a good job. Not the greatest job in the world. We could use the new filter, the new blur filter in Photoshop, which is the path blur. So I'll show you that. So as you can see, you get given when you click path blur, you get given these little lines. So if you add in a taper, it tapers in the middle, I believe. So if you put that there, and let's drag that round, or tapers at the end, each end. So now we've got a sort of a flying motion of we can actually trace that motion and get the same motion as it would be. So that's pretty nice. I'm liking that. Click OK. So I've got just a generalized speed there. You can add more speed if you wish, if you think it needs it. And it's only added it to that selection which I had. We can add some more in. So just get the white, get a soft brush, a low flow, just add some more blur in there. That's the good thing about smart objects. Just take it away if you need to. Something like that. That's pretty good. We do the same to this other one over here. So the far right butterfly. Again, smart object, filter, blur, and path blur. I mean, you could add like a drastic blur, which might be a bit more realistic, like this. You know, it depends if it was a real camera. It depends on the ISO you're at, that type of thing. So it depends what look you want, really. I'm just going to leave it so you can actually see what they are, because I don't really want centered blur. Let's take off centered blur to see if I believe that does the edges then. Yeah, there we go. So that centered blur, take that off, and then it does only the edges of your image, because it's tapered. But even if it doesn't, we can add in we can take it off using the mask. So let's add that. I haven't really mastered the path blur, but I'm sure I get around to that. So that looks quite good. We could add in a mask and bring back some of the detail if you want to. So with the black on that blur mask, it's gonna get back the front part of the butterfly. That looks okay. Okay, and then before we do anything else, I'm going to go back to the left butterfly. And to create more depth, like I did in this one, I'm going to completely blur it out. It needs to be bigger as well, so let's do that. Sorry, I didn't do that. Okay. Like that. It's fine. Also, if you want to actually get into really specific details, you could change or modify the butterfly shape, because obviously we don't want two exactly the same. So I'm going to leave the left one the same, but we can try and modify the right hand butterfly, make it a bit more realistic in terms of, you know, they wouldn't be exactly the same. So let's go to edit warp, Let's just warp some of the butterfly a little bit. A bit smaller, a bit more the back. Like that. That'll be okay. So I'm liking that. Right. Okay, so that's that. So now we're going to add in just the ladybug. That's the last part of this part. So let's get that in there. If I can find it. Okay, here they are. Okay, so let's choose one. It doesn't matter to be the same one I use. I'm not sure which one I use. Actually, I believe it was this one down here. So let's get that one. So I'm gonna just first of all just go around him, cut him out. Don't need the rest of that. And then let's choose the magic wand. Let's get a tolerance 40. That might be okay. Let's grab that. And let's see if that's okay. Not the greatest. Let's go back to down to 20 tolerance. Click contiguous. Okay, so let me tell you the difference between contiguous and without it. Without contiguous, if I show you, you click once, it'll try and select all that similar color. Contiguous, it realizes what's in your image, I believe, and it's trying to help you. So each one's just like is really good. If I bring in a crane quickly, 1 second. It's a bit off topic, but it's a very useful tool. So I'm going to bring that in. So this crane here, it's not a very good image. But if you wanted to get out that crane without, take ages with the quick selection, if I click with the contiguous on, it'll just select like that. If I go to 50 tolerance, sorry, and try it again. So it doesn't do that. We click off of contiguous. As you can see, it's gone inside the blue. It's seen the blue, and it's trying to select it out for you. So it's a very good tool. So if I actually mask that out and then invert it, you can see that it's actually done a pretty good job in terms of getting all those little details. It's just a little tool for you there. So let's cancel this out. Okay, bring that back in there. Okay, so back to our image. So butterfly, that should be okay. See what that looks like. I'm going to mask that and then invert. Ugh, not very nice on there. Let's get the white. Bring back those little dots. And I'm going to apply mask. If you want to be non-destructive, then don't do that. But because it's such a small part of our image and it's a straw, I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to, like I did before, Control, hit on the thumbnail, select, modify, contract by 1 this time. Again, I'm going to invert it to delete what's outside of that selection. And then we don't have the line anymore. Okay, so let's place him where we want him. So it would be over here somewhere. If this guy was like flying, obviously he'd be have a bit of motion. Also, it's a pretty big butterfly. They're a ladybug. They're kind of small, but we want to see him in this image. So again, I'm gonna just group this ladybug. Add a hue saturation, good red, and then let's change that to the same color we got. So that's that there. Cool. Alright then, so please join me for the part 3, which is attached to the video, and yeah, I'll see you then. Thank you for watching this video.